The book of Isaiah, chapter 32. Behold, a king will reign righteously, and officials will rule justly. Each will be like a refuge from the wind, and a shelter from the storm. Like streams of water in a dry country, like the shade of a huge rock in an exhausted land. Then the eyes of those who see will not be blinded, and the ears of those who hear will listen. The mind of the rash will discern the truth. The tongue of the stammerers will hurry to speak clearly. No longer will the fool be called noble, or the rogue be spoken of as generous. For a fool speaks nonsense, and his heart inclines towards wickedness. To practice ungodliness and to speak error against the Lord. To keep the hungry person unsatisfied, and to withhold drink from the thirsty. As for a rogue, his weapons are evil. He devises wicked schemes to destroy the poor with slander, even though the needy one speaks what is right. But the noble person devises noble plans, and by noble plans he stands. Rise up, you women who are at ease, and hear my voice. Listen to my word, you complacent daughters. Within a year and a few days you will be troubled, you complacent daughters, for the vintage is ended, and the fruit gathering will not come. Tremble, you women who are at ease. Be troubled, you complacent daughters. Strip, undress, and put sackcloth on your waist. Beat your breasts for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine, for the land of my people, in which thorns and briars will come up. Indeed, for all the joyful houses, and for the jubilant city. For the palace has been neglected, the populated city abandoned. Hill and watchtower have become caves forever. A delight for wild donkeys, a pasture for flocks, until the Spirit is poured out upon us from on high, and the wilderness becomes a fertile field, and the fertile field is considered as a forest. The justice will dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness will remain in the fertile field. And the work of the righteous will be peace, and the service of righteousness quietness and confidence forever. Then my people will live in a peaceful settlement, and secure dwellings and in undisturbed resting places. And it will hail when the forest comes down, and the city will be utterly laid low. How blessed will you be, you who sow beside all waters, who let the ox and the donkey out freely. Just as we covered with 31, this very well speaks to us here, right now, this day, because we are yearning on our knees, yearning for the coming King to take his throne. And it begins, behold, a king will reign righteously, and officials will rule justly. Have you looked around? The judges of American courts today are puppets on strings, and what they do is puppet justice. No, I am not being dramatic. When you build private prisons for profit, what kind of court system do you have? America is not number one in very much. We are number one in exporting pornography. We are number one for incarcerated citizens. Number one. Number one. Not China. We make China I'm not even going to go there. I'm not, because I'll just get angry. We have privatized prisons. Do you know how many judges have been caught up? The ones that have been exposed for sending children to teenage jails. They build them, they must fill them. Okay? It's fact. Our courts are, it's a puppet show. And if you've been in one, you would know what I'm talking about. Look, the guilty go free every day in this nation. Almost everybody in the political arena is guilty. And most of them for the most heinous crimes you can possibly imagine. Treason, murder, rape, torture, pedophilia, and thieving on a scale that makes me sick to my stomach. And these wars, these banker wars, to line the pockets of billionaires, building fleets of drones to send out to people who are already in dire conditions. You want to know who the terrorists are? Because they're not in the Middle East. They're right here. And the churches, the pulpits today, I watched that guy with the mega church down in Texas for the first time the other day. And I was so appalled by his message. And he has hundreds of thousands of views within hours of posting his little videos. Not to mention the tens of thousands of people who get into his football stadium church. The people are not being led astray anymore, brothers and sisters, by the false shepherds, by the wolves that are in sheep's clothing. No. As I said yesterday, they are being led to the slaughter. And this is just the beginning. They destroy the poor with slander. Only the needy one speaks what is right. As for the rogue, his weapons are evil. They keep the hungry person hungry and withhold drink from the thirsty. They practice ungodliness and speak error against the Lord. This speaks to us. Now, I'm not going to say anything about the women at ease because I'm going to leave that alone. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. We yearn for our coming King, and we yearn for him to take his throne. Right now, we are the beacons of light, those of you who have the Holy Spirit. And you were put here in such a place and such a time as this to be beacons of light for everyone else in darkness. This is not my quote, but I love it. They don't care about how much you know until they know about how much you care. In a time that is so dark as this, we can have joy, and we just did a video on that, listing the things that we have to look forward to. Are we in tribulation? Yes. But thank God for that. Thank our Father in heaven for caring and loving us so much that he would pick us up in our most filthy state and clean us. brush us off and make us righteous. When you look in the mirror, you see the filthy, disgusting flesh that you were born in. But brothers and sisters, when he looks down from his throne right now and he sees us in white robes, cleansed with the shed blood of his Son. He loves us. He wants to hear from each and every one of you. He wants you to know what it is he is preparing you for. God bless and be with each and every one of you. Much love, peace, and grace.